are you working at Apple while you're in school?
Yes. So I worked at Apple for 5 years, the whole time I was in school, and it was working at Apple really changed me.
Okay.
In the coolest way. So if you knew me prior to working at Apple, I was super shy in my bubble, didn't really like do anything. I mean, not that I do anything bad now, but I was just like a very straight edge kid. Yeah, very reserved. Wasn't very outgoing, nothing like that. I wanted to be, but I just wasn't.
Yeah.
And then working at Apple, they train you in such a way, and you have to be able to adapt and mold, and you have to be able to take people's. Am I allowed to cuss on here? I'm allowed to take. Yeah, like you have to take people. But also, like, you have to have that empathy and compassion. And it helped me learn a lot of traits and values that I've still kept till this day, which is really cool because your first big job, you never really...
Right.
I mean, you remember it, but it's always like, how much do you really take in? Exactly.
Right? Like, I want to make some money, and it's a cool opportunity because I work at Apple.
Exactly. I mean, it was retail, and retail is not glamorous by any means, but working at Apple was one of the coolest experiences in the world, and I'm so grateful. And like I said, I met some of the coolest people, and now those same people that I worked side by side are doing like cooler things than I am, and it's so just awesome to see.
That's
and
awesome.
Everything started at Apple, and so I mean, Apple is a big part of who I am and how I became, just with the culture and the people and just everything about that job. And even like customers that came in, I like have long-term relationships with them, and some of them ended up being my clients when I started my business, which is cool.
That's awesome. Were you into tech growing up then?
Kind of, yeah. I still remember my brother getting me my first Dell, and I would always be on that thing. Yeah. Like, I would always be trying to teach myself how to, like, hack into people's emails, like, weird stuff. But, like, again, I was
you were definitely into tech then,
I was super reserved, like, didn't really go hang out with friends. I didn't really start hanging out with people till, like, probably the 5th or 6th grade.
Okay.
And, like, really got out of my shell and started, like, having friends over and going to do things. But other than that, if people didn't invite me, I would never actively go seek friends because I didn't want to seem needy, I guess.
Okay.
You know, it was weird kid things. But even since I was a kid, I remember my mom saying you would never go play with other little kids until you were invited to go play.
Yeah.
Which is so weird.
Is that just because of the culture you kind of, I don't know, like upbringing from mom and dad, or what? Or was that just you?
It's just, I just was so reserved. And I can still be like that sometimes. If like, I'm comfortable with silence. And so when like I meet new people, and I'm not a big small talker, I hate small talk. So when I meet new people, it's like, I'm comfortable with that silence. So when they're not, it's like, okay, well, I'm not really good at small talk, so I don't really know what to talk to you about. Yeah. But yeah.
That's probably why you and Nick go so well together.
Oh, it's perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like there's times where he can like be super outgoing and friendly.
It's all the time.
And there's times
literally when we're in public, I'm like,
but sometimes he shuts
cool,
down.
You got
right?
this. Yeah.
And sometimes you're just like, I'm going to text you and I don't hear from you for 5 days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which for people watching and listening,
if you know,
Nick Brown is notorious for not texting you back for 5 days.
Then you know, yeah. We just say it's nothing personal. Just,
of
you
course.
know, it just is what it is.
Yeah, the first time I was like, why? He's really hard to get hold of. And then you're like, no, it's just the way it is.
Yeah,
it's totally
fine.
Appreciate you, Nick, if you're watching and listening. So you're at Apple, you're learning all this stuff, and like they're basically unlocking you to becoming more outgoing. And then you graduate and think, do I even want to use this degree? Like,
yeah. So I graduated, and then there was a huge, at the time, Apple had something called one-to-one training, which was you paid $99 for a year, and you essentially got unlimited training classes, and you could go up there. You could learn, like, if you were working on projects, you could learn how to do those. They would help you. There was creatives there to do that. Yeah. So that was a big thing. And then the year before I left, Apple stopped doing that. And so then they just did free workshops to the public, which those were harder because it's not one-on-one training.
Right.
And with when you paid for the one-to-one program, you could do like workshop type classes, but you could also do like individual one-on-one.
Yeah.
And so that was a big change for especially for the older crowd, which is that was my target market.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I just observed, and I knew. So after you work at Apple for 5 years, you get a plaque. Okay. Which is really cool. And then 10 years, you get something. So every 5 years, you get something. And I knew I wanted to stay at Apple for my 5 years because, I mean, I'm a Apple fangirl. I'll admit it. And I had to have it. Like, that was my goal, and I knew it. And so this was year 4.5. And I was like, okay, like, I know I have to stay here for another 6 months. I knew that I was about to, you know, graduation was just around the corner. And and so I was in the midst of all of that. I was scheming.
Yeah.
And then I started FRIENDLiTECH. I was kind of doing stuff in the background because, of course, it was conflict of interest.
Of course, but
it wasn't
you saw an
anything
opportunity.
big. Yeah, it wasn't anything big. I was just
Yeah.
observing and seeing and listening to what customers were saying and the
Yeah.
feedback that they had in regards to not having the one-to-one program, et cetera. So then I had started FRIENDLiTECH shortly after I left Apple. I still remember my clap out. So when you leave Apple, it's like a big thing. They make an announcement and like all the customers in the store like stop and they're like, hey, like so-and-so's leaving. They've been here for X amount of time. And we just like, you know, to have everyone join us in a clap out. And so I still remember my clap out.
They clapped you out of the store.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's kind of exhilarating. But yeah, so I had that and then started my journey of being an entrepreneur.